Today I've been digging through my Christmas scraps, and I've come up with some blocks that I would like to show you that I'm making. These are 5.5-inch sawtooth star blocks. I have 4 of the little green ones made, and I have 4 of these cute little blue snowmen made. Now I have only 8 made so far. You can't do much with 8 5.5-inch blocks, but I have been cutting out a bunch more. Each one of these little sets is a star block. So I'll just have to start stitching these up. But I want to show you real quickly how I'm cutting these out with my Accuquilt. And I'm only going to show you these smallest ones. Let me get some that show it better. I'm going to show you how to do the smallest ones. This is my die that I'm using, and it cuts out 8 for each layer that you put on it. You can do up to 4 layers at a time on my little Go Me. I can do more than that on my bigger one. So what I'll do is I have this strip that is 4.5 inches wide, and I can just lay it over the top of this whole thing here, and I can fan fold it. So I can probably only get a half of a layout on that top one. But let's see how this works out. It would help if I had the little mat that goes over it. Some of you have seen me do this before. For those who might not have, I'm not selling Accuquilt. I just enjoy using it, so I thought I'd share. Okay, I'm pulling off the scrap from it. Okay, and there are all my little parts. There's a lot of little star points there. Sometimes they get caught, the little strings get caught in there and you have to get them out. But it's a lot faster to me it's a lot faster cutting these little small pieces like this than it is to do it with a rotary cutter, for sure. Now, in my opinion, there are tricks to sewing these small little blocks like this. Okay, first of all, I like to use a clear foot that I can see through and see where I'm stitching. And I like to set my width at almost 0 so that my needle is just barely clearing the foot, and then I will put my fabric just to the edge of this foot, and I will set my stitch length at about 2. Now let me see, I think I'll do a red one. I think it'll show it better on camera. So I'll take my center, and then I'll take my little flying geese units, which is number 4 quarter square triangle in my little cube set. I'll put one on each side of my square. My square is 3 inches. And if you wanted to cut these, if you did want to cut these with your rotary cutter, you could cut, it looks like about 2 3/4, and then cut it in half. Or you could just do 3 inches and then trim it down later, I guess. I haven't actually tried that though, so just keep that in mind. Alright, now I'm just going to take my little wings, and these are 1 3/4. That way, well, half of it's 1 3/4. Let's see what. About, looks like about 2 1/8. I'll just lay out my square and my 1/4 square triangles. These will make the flying geese units when combined with the little star points. I'm sure that most of you know how to make this sawtooth star, but just in case. Oh, I had an extra one. Okay, and then we have our 4 little, what makes this, our 4 little squares, what makes this one different is that it's so small. Oh, I didn't have an extra. I just forgot to put it in there. Okay. Okay, there we are. So we're ready to start stitching that. See if I can readjust here so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, to make my cute little star block, I'm just going to take and start building my flying geese units, which would be the star points. And I'm probably making my seams a little less than 1/4 inch. It's just the width of this. It's just the width of this side of the foot here. And I'll just take one, chain stitch all the right sides, then I'll go back and do the same on the other. I'm lining up the bottom and the side and this edge. And then I'm going to go ahead and finger press these open, but you can see it's not a large 1/4 inch. So I might call it a scant, but I think it is a full 1/4 inch. Let's see. But it's not any bigger than 1/4 inch for sure. Yeah, it is 1/4 inch. Just have to be careful not to make it any larger than 1/4 inch. Or your 5.5 inch block will come out to 5 inches, which wouldn't be a bad deal either. I'm just wanting to make mine a full 5.5 if possible. Now I'll just go ahead and make the rest of those. So the main thing you're looking for is if you have your 1/4 inch seam allowance up here. And then we're going to take and sew the 2 side units to the middle part. And just for video's sake, I'm going to go ahead and take this off. So the other side. Normally I would just keep going and sewing these. I'm going to press these toward the inside, because if I press them to the outside, I'd have these to deal with. There's nothing on the inside, so. Now I think I am going to go ahead and start stitching these little white squares. And let's see, press this one to the inside. I'm going to go ahead and give this a little press with my iron over here. So we want to make sure we have our points there. Now then, these get pressed to the outside. Side. Now I'm going to go ahead and give these a press before I stitch them onto that. It came out just a little tiny bit uneven on that, so I'm just going to take that little piece off. I've still got my 1/4 inch there. Now I'm just going to match up my little seam on each side. And I think I'm going to put a little pin in there to hold keep it from shifting when I stitch this part. And when I stitch, I want to make sure I stay a little tiny bit to the right of that where it crosses right there, so I don't lose my point. These seams should be nesting. The one on the middle part is going to the right, and the one on the wings are going to the left. time I'm going to press it to the outside. And a little thing that I like to do to take a little bit of this bulk out is just to clip that a little bit in the middle, but don't clip into your stitching, of course. And that'll make it lie down nice and flat. Press it. The pin on this just keeps it from fidgeting around on you. And there's our little, that took about, I'd say 20, 25 minutes if I was counting the time that I was demonstrating. So it's just something you have to get used to doing if you're not used to doing small blocks. But they turn out so cute, don't they? All right, we'll see how many more of these I can get done tonight, and then I'll show you when I decide to call it a night how many I've gotten done. I don't think I did this on the other one until after. So let's see. I'm going to line it up on the 0 line and the 5.5 line. And there's not much to remove, but there is a little tiny bit. You can square up to 6.5 inch blocks with this. I really like it for squaring up. I use my larger ones for squaring up my bigger blocks too. So easy. All right, let's see. I made 4 blocks tonight. I made this one at the beginning of the video. And then I turned off the camera and I made 3 more. The dark blue, the light blue, and the sort of beige, green, and red combo. And then here are the other 2 that I already have made 4 of each. The green and sort of a medium blue with a little snowman center. So I have 6 different blocks that I'm working on. And I'll be making 4 of each of those, so I'll have 24 blocks altogether. Now, to make those 3 blocks, it took me another hour. And so I'm thinking about 20 minutes each to put these together. That's not counting cutting them out. But like I showed you earlier, it doesn't take long to cut them out with my little Accuquilt. And one thing I like about making the flying geese with Accuquilt, there's no stitching and flipping and cutting off. They're already cut to the dimensions that you need them, and there's no trimming afterwards either, except at the end of the block. So that's what I like about them, and makes it go fast and easy. And these are kind of addictive. Really, if you think about it, you don't want to stop making them. So I guess that'll do it for tonight. Got lots more of these to make. Can't wait to get them all done. They're so much fun. And then I have to figure out what I'm going to do with them, right? They'll find their way into a Christmas quilt at some point. So God bless y'all and have a great weekend. Nancy with Simply Quilting. Signing off. See you next time.